How's it going, YouTube? Liam from Leeds Australia here, and welcome back to Let's Play Minecraft. Now, we're going to be checking out something a little bit different this time around when it comes to Minecraft. I guess you could say this is a showcase, or a let's look at kind of video. I haven't done one of those, especially for Minecraft, in quite some time. I don't even remember when the last video I did of a look at sort of themed episode of Minecraft, which would have been ages ago. But we are going to check out something that I think is pretty cool for what it is. And we're checking out the Bedrock version of Minecraft, more specifically the Windows version of Bedrock Minecraft. I'm currently still working on a map as well as getting a house and everything prepared on the Switch version of Bedrock Minecraft. I just need to do some more work before I can finally get back into recording Survival Instinct and put that back on the rotation list of recording and uploading videos, but that's still taking a bit of time. I'll hopefully get through that as soon as I can. But we're going to be checking something out, but before we check this out, I do have a small story to tell, especially if you guys have missed the live stream I did, the first live stream I did back sometime in January before starting the season off. Around Christmas time, so this is when my family and I were away for the holidays, away for Christmas and New Year's. But during around possibly Christmas time, or probably when there was a huge storm that while my family and I were away, something happened to my computer, more specifically my old graphics card. At a certain point in time, around early January, so I came home with my dad, home from the holidays, and I went to check on my PC. So when I turned on my PC, there were a couple of things that I noticed. One of my monitors was not working, and two, the monitor that was working had a lot of very pixelated lines just flowing all over the screen, all over the place, and that was a bit of a concern. So I asked Dad to come check it out, have a look, and we didn't figure out straight away in time of what possibly could have happened, because there could have been multiple things. I had one theory, one idea. Luckily, that wasn't the case. What we have come to the conclusion, along with some research and discussions, especially for my dad's co-workers at his work, we had came to the conclusion that my graphics drive had buggered up. Because, as I mentioned before, while that we were away, something must have happened, or one of the recent storms, while that my sister was here, during that storm, might have caused a bit of, not a power outage, but sort of a power surge, or another particular phrase, which I don't remember what that phrase is. And what we eventually ordered was a RTX graphics card, more specifically an RTX 3070, if I remember correctly. And this one is manufactured by, so this one in particular is Aurorus, I believe that's how you pronounce it. And when we got it out of the box, man, I could definitely just tell the size difference between the previous graphics card and, of course, this new one. There's a different size change. Like, there's a massive difference you can definitely tell. Unfortunately, I didn't get an actual side-by-side comparison of the size with the old graphics card, but that's perfectly fine. You get the general idea, especially when they first announced the new 30 series RTX graphics cards. The higher the number, the bigger they got. So, with that being said, I have now got an RTX graphics card. And what that means is that for some particular games that support it, I'll be able to sort of explore and experiment with the RTX feature. And one particular game that, of course, has been messed around with was Bedrock Minecraft, more specifically the Windows version. I'm not sure if the PlayStations or even the Xbox, more specifically Xbox Series X's or even the PlayStation 5s has this feature available yet, but Mojang and Nvidia had decided to work together to create a couple of maps that showcases a lot of the RTX features with the RTX graphics cards in Minecraft. Because if you remember a while back, and I know that I'm sort of rambling on and not really getting into the game, but just to get a bit more of a story out of the way, if you remember a while ago, Mojang, especially working on Bedrock Minecraft, wanted to sort of bring in a ray tracing kind of feature, or at least a texture pack, if you will, to Bedrock Minecraft. Unfortunately, that eventually got scrapped, but Nvidia wanted to at least try out and actually make a couple of maps and use the ray tracing feature from their RTX graphics cards into Bedrock Minecraft. And that is what we're going to be looking at today, because if you guys know about me playing, especially Minecraft Hardcore and me working on the Hardcore series, so I'm using, that's on the Java version of Minecraft, and I'm using Optifine to sort of get that kind of sort of ray tracing sort of shade, the shaders, that's what it is. The shaders pack that I'm using, of course, I think is Soldiers, if I remember. So, when you look at those shader packs, they are pretty fascinating in some way, but I will show you what the RTX version of, the ray tracing version of Bedrock Minecraft has. Now, I have turned it off to basically give you a starting comparison, if you will. And I do have another map that I reckon we'll explore in just a moment. But, so if I can find a particular ledge, let's start off from here. So, good old looking Minecraft. Nothing fancy here, but it's still good to sort of look at some of the older texture packs. The classical texture packs, I believe this is the more modern one, because if you guys remember, there are two classic texture packs. You have the newest version, or at least the current version of the original texture pack, and then there's the very classic one, which I enjoy more personally than this sort of updated texture. But that's perfectly fine. But that's not what the real thing we're looking at here. Let's go to settings, go to video, and we're now going to turn on ray tracing. Now, as you can see, the rendered distance is going to be low, but that's sort of a recommended thing. And I think that's perfectly fair in some cases, but here we go. Okay, so from this point, especially viewing from here, it's not too fancy, but we'll get to that. So, this is NVIDIA's ray tracing for Bedrock Minecraft. And as you can see, where's the sun? The sun is currently right that way. So if you pay close attention, you can actually see the shadows moving. Or more particularly, if I go into third person, my character has shadows. But the other thing that I find pretty cool with this ray tracing is that if we look at, I believe that's, oh, I'm not sure what stone slab that is, but if you look really closely, you can actually see a bit of detail within this particular stone. And not to mention, of course, for this particular stone type, you can actually see the reflection of the sun bouncing off, which is actually pretty crazy, if I'm not going to lie. And we'll have a little look inside the house in a moment. But currently, the cloud is warring. Oh, that's cool. Oh, I haven't experienced that properly yet. So, the clouds affect the sunlight. That is actually pretty cool. I like that. So there's a few things that I haven't really properly experienced with the with ray tracing in Bedrock Minecraft fully yet. I've only experimented with a few little bits here and there. So if we look over here, so yeah, you have a little bit of detail in the cobblestone. You know, reflections of this stone type. I've forgotten what that is. The torches light up. Now, I did experiment with one particular thing. So if you guys know with Optifine, when you have that installed, when you're holding a torch, it actually lights up the area to where you're holding the torch. Fortunately, that does not work in ray tracing, but well, that's all right. You're always going to have a little small difference here and there. But let's head down to the area where we saw water earlier when we were not in RTX mode, and I'll show you one particular thing. All right, before we continue, look at even the wall has this sort of like tiny bit of extra detail. Maybe not super extra, but it's like that. It's sort of popping out here and there. Which, by the way, now that I should probably mention, so on the Minecraft store, in the Minecraft store, when you actually check it out in the Bedrock Windows version, there are particular maps that you can download to test and experiment with the ray tracing feature. But the only way you can actually download them is if you do have an RTX graphics card or a graphics card within the RTX series. Otherwise, you won't be able to download it. And they specifically made that as a thing so that people will could not download the actual map and actually, you know, accidentally turn on ray tracing. That could probably fry their graphics cards, which I can sort of understand that to some degree. But as a map itself, this is the medieval map, by the way. And again, I will probably check out another map that I also downloaded in a moment. But yeah, it would be, it's just, it kind of sucks that they lock you out with that. But again, part of me understands why they made that choice or made that decision. Now, so this is what ray tracing Minecraft water looks like when you have it turned on. Now, to give a proper comparison to it, let's turn RTX off. So this is what basic Minecraft water looks like, which we all remember and all know so well. Right, so you could basically see how deep the water goes from this distance. But let's turn RTX back, ray tracing back on. So they basically did their best to try and replicate what real water looks like, where it distorts the image. When you're inside the water, it basically distorts the surroundings and doesn't make us see how deep the water goes, and not to mention the reflections and whatnot, and even the fish. Look at the fish. But this is my favorite bit, and this is the thing I like with the water effects, which I believe I have on Optifine. I can't remember, but if we go down, so everything looks fine. Oh, and there's even details in the water too. But you have the mirror effects when you're inside the water, which is absolutely crazy. Which is what normal water is like anyway. So yeah, just the distortion, which is so insane. So, I will say, like, this is impressive in its own right and its own way, you know? It's not as impressive as Optifine, and there's certain things that Optifine doesn't have that ray tracing has in some cases, but this is still impressive in its own way. You know, I reckon NVIDIA has done a pretty good job of bringing in a ray tracing element into an official Minecraft feature, or making it as a feature to mess around with, and still just make it look good. Like, that's all I can really say. It just makes it look pretty good. Oh, I just can't get enough of the just the distortion of the water. The funny thing is though, is that, so you actually got the effects and the just the water effects from just looking up here is awesome. But the funny thing is about the whole thing is, of course, you still see the traditional Minecraft water texture lines on the top, which is very funny to me. Oh, look, an egg. Now, let's head up this way, because the one thing I do notice is that like the one thing that Optifine has that I'm afraid RTX or ray tracing doesn't have for Bedrock Minecraft is the sun or the moon rays going through the leaves. That's something that you will see with Optifine on Java Minecraft. That's something you won't see here, but that's alright. Like, this is still pretty cool, in my opinion at least. Okay, so let's head towards... There's also a little cave area on this particular map that we will head to. I'll try and find one of the entrances, because there are two entrances that I do know about this particular map that you can go to get inside the cave. Alright. So this is one of the cave entrances we can go into. And we can check out... Look at the redstone torch. And even... Check this out. So I believe this is diamond, I'm assuming. Even the diamond... the diamond deposits, I'll say. It has a bit of a little glow. which I don't think, if we turned off ray tracing. Yeah, you don't get that. You don't see that little shine that the diamond has on that particular block. Turning it back on. So yeah, look, you get like a small little glow. Like that is pretty cool. I'm not sure if that's in Optifine or whatnot, but that doesn't necessarily matter. This is still impressive. Like, again, impressive in its own way. The video has done their own kind of take on, you know, their kind of shaders, if you will. They won't necessarily call it shaders, but it's still pretty cool. But this is one of 2 maps that I downloaded. There's more RTX maps that you can actually download if you wanted to, but I will show you. Oh, hang on. Oh, that's a skull. Let's go check the skull out. Whoa. Oh, that is cool. Look at the surroundings and the colors. Like how the light reflects around the inside of this dinosaur skull, basically. Oh, that's incredible. I like that. Because we all know that, for those who don't, in some shape and form, the thing is that light bounces around on white surfaces a lot. Very bright and white surfaces, light bounces off to. Like, if you tried bouncing a light off a very dark or a black painted surface, light will not bounce off of it. Because there's a meaning behind that. There's an actual word for it, or like I don't know, some fancy term for it. But this is something I learned in photography class. Because the dark and the blackness actually consumes the light source and doesn't bounces anything out of it. Like if you were to say like a white painted wall, like what I have in my room here, the light does bounce off from it. But if you were to record in a very dark room, light won't bounce off of a lot of the walls that easily, which is kind of interesting and pretty freaking when you think about it. But, so, that's technically the medieval map. I'm not sure if there's anything else besides the building and this particular cave. But there's one other map I will load in, and I will show you what that looks like. So if you give me a moment. Okay, so this map is known as Neon District. Now, I downloaded this for one because I had been enjoying playing Cyberpunk 2077, especially when that came out, and that was a good game to play. But I also downloaded this because this is actually kind of interesting. So what we're looking at here, of course, are, I'm not sure what the rods are called, but we're looking at the rods behind stained glass. More specifically, I think we have lime and green stained glass. Now, this is RTX turned off because I wanted to start off with having RTX off in this case, but let's turn on RTX and we'll see what it actually looks like with RTX on. 3, 2, 1. And voila! Look how bright that is! Coming from not having ray tracing, I keep saying RTX, but you get the point of what I'm saying here. Having ray tracing turned off, or have it turned off and then turn it on, it makes everything so brighter. But the thing I love about it, of course, is the reflection of the window. And also the detail of the window, because if you look pretty close... So what is that, by the way? That's an end rod, okay. But if you look at the window has this little detail that you don't necessarily see as much in a normal stained glass when you have ray tracing turned off, or even Optifine doesn't really have this. Another thing too, of course, is this is an iron trapdoor. There's reflections on it. And this is just crazy. Like, when I loaded into this map for the first time, I was just blown away by it. So this is in creative, which I think you can go into survival if you wanted to. But the idea, I think, is more of a showcase rather than being a complete survival map like what the medieval one was. But, oh man, look at that. That's incredible. What the heck is that thing? Oh my goodness. Holy crap. I have not seen this before. This is the first time I'm seeing this. So this is red stained glass. And the end rods to create this. Oh, wow. That is so dark looking. Kind of almost reminds me of... I have not played any of the Devil May Cry games yet. I know that if... I know I have Devil May Cry 5 on my library. I will have to install that at some point. But this head reminds me of those blood skulls that you get. I can't remember what they're actually called, but you get those from defeating enemies and you use it to buy stuff. This is what it reminds me of. Oh... Just holy moly, man. I'm not even kidding. Like, this is what amazes me with, like, not just in terms of the ray tracing, but the design of the map as well. I'm not sure who was that designed this map, whether it was the guys at Mojang or if it was someone at NVIDIA that actually made this. I'm assuming it's someone at NVIDIA, because that would make sense. But, like, oh, there's a little train. Little tram system. Oh, wow. Look at that. Like, that's sort of a cool comparison from not loading in properly from the top all the way down to the bottom. But, like... Oh, man. That is just incredible. But yeah, just going in closer, right? You could see, like... the rough idea of the details of the spacing between the glasses. Like, this is just incredible. Like, this is, like, the thing is that this is just awesome to look at, because I think this is not necessarily as much of, like, you know, a shader thing or a texture thing, or just like a random feature that Minecraft or Mojang wanted to put in. I think the more general purpose and the general idea for ray tracing being turned on... Now, this is my opinion. I could be wrong. But I think this is more for aesthetic, or more or less a showcasing kind of element to, like, show off, like, what ray tracing could actually do if you have the right graphics card that supports ray tracing. Because, you know, this is just... It's just a crazy idea. Oh, man. Oh, the light even reflects off of the iron as well, because that's an iron block there. And you have the iron trapdoor there. The light reflects off the iron so well. That's just incredible. Because here's the thing, alright? As I said before, this ray tracing element here is impressive in its own way. Is it much more impressive than Optifine? Personally, for me, not really. But you have to sort of keep this in mind. Optifine is like made up by a third-party group. You know, not affiliated with Mojang by any means. They're more of like, sort of like a modder group of teams, if that's one way of putting it. Or modded group of people. Group of modders, if I can use my words right. I think the general idea is that... Oh yeah, look, you have the GeForce logo here on this panel. What's this one? That's oh, wait a minute, hang on. Whoa, wait, what? Isn't that like if you actually put water onto clay, it becomes like this? Is that what I'm thinking? Because you got clay powder, and I think blue concrete, and then blue. Unless it's like light inside, I'll have to look into that. But you know, this is impressive in its own right. Again, it's not as impressive as Optifine, because Optifine is different. Optifine acts, or sort of, at least the way that developers of Optifine, and even the shaders actually, now pointing onto it. Optifine is just like an add-on, basically. It's a custom add-on thing for Java Minecraft. But the shaders is all done by a group of people, or even just one person, maybe. But, especially when we look at Solder's shaders, Like, they create a shaders of a different way, because it affects a lot more than just the light source. It affects a whole lot. They added basically a realistic water system into their shaders, as well as the ability for the sun or moon ray light to go through the leaves, or even go like maybe a bit of a window or something like that, especially a wooden window, if you will. The windows are a lot more like glass looking windows, and not having the actual like Minecraft skin look onto it, if that makes sense. Oh, that's the clouds. Ow, even the clouds look a bit interesting. Whee! But yeah, it's just Optifine works a little bit different. Or sorry, not Optifine. I keep thinking Optifine is the one that actually makes the shaders, but it's not. The solder shaders, if you will, they just work differently, and they work on many different things that is a lot different to how NVIDIA, excuse me, explores a lot of what the shader textures or anything like that with their ray tracing. All right, this a different process, different pathway, different process to how they handled it, but it's still impressive in its own way. Oh, look at that! Oh, that's cool. Like just the lights reflecting off of the shiny surfaces of a gold block, or if we go to a diamond block, like look at that. That's cool. Let's do one particular thing. Let's get, okay, nothing fancy, but that's okay. So I think the real main target is not necessarily with items as much, but really more just the surfaces of blocks and glasses like these, which makes proper sense. There you go. But, alright, I've ranted up too much a little bit on this video, but the whole point is that, as I stated again, this is impressive for what it is, you know? It is different to shaders, the shaded packs that you can find for Optifine and Java Minecraft, but this is still pretty cool in my opinion. Like, there are certain things that are here that you don't necessarily see in the shaders for Java. You know, Java has its own impressive elements. What we have here, especially looking at the waters in the medieval map that I showed earlier, you know, just that effect, you know, a proper water effects when you're looking through the surface, you know, the water rays from the ground, and then of course going inside and seeing a mirrored look on the main surface of the water. That is impressive to me, you know. While that I do like the water effects in shaders, especially Solder's shaders pack for Java Minecraft, like, it's still pretty cool looking at this. You know, seeing the reflections of light bouncing off of the shiny surfaces of especially the iron trapdoors like here, you know. And these blocks, like these blocks is impressive. I'll have to look into the research of how those blocks are made to get a better idea of how they work, because I have not seen that properly yet for some blocks. But yeah, this is just cool. Like, this is just absolutely impressive. So, if you are someone who does eventually pick up an RTX graphics card, doesn't matter if it's a 3070 like I've got, or if it's a 3060, 3080, 3090. I have heard there's a 3050 that had been announced not long ago. I'm not sure if that's released yet, but if you do end up getting an RTX graphics card, it is worth to check these maps out for yourself. I'll have to look into the other maps that are available that uses ray tracing, but this is just pretty cool, and I wanted to showcase both of those maps and just give you guys a look at what ray tracing looks like in Bedrock Minecraft. I wanted to show these maps off, especially make this video for one. I needed to make another video and have one ready to upload along with one of my horror game videos that I did. I think I will upload this along with Amnesia. But, you know, this is just impressive. Like, this is, I knew I had to make a video of this at some point, so I will make it now. But this is pretty cool. As I said before, I'll probably, like, I'm speechless. That's the thing. I can't think of any other word to say that it is impressive in its own way. And that's really all I will say. That's all I can say. It's impressive in its own way. I mean, that's all I could really put it in any expect. But again, if you do end up getting an RTX graphics card, make sure you check these maps out and actually test the RTX feature with Bedrock Minecraft, because this is fun. Like, this is cool. Like, there's no way else to put it. So, with that being said, I am going to end off the video here. I'll probably check out a few other maps that are available, and I may make another video to see what the other maps look like, and go bouncing back and forth between having ray tracing turned on, ray tracing turned off, and go back and forth into it. If there are other particular maps that are there in the store that are free to download that you guys want me to check out, then let me know in the comments below. But until then, that's all I have to show for now. So thank you very much, guys, for watching, and a huge shout out to the guys at Mojang and Nvidia for making these cool maps, first off, but of course allowing to have ray tracing enabled into Minecraft, because again, this is impressive and I love this. I want to make that clear. I absolutely love this. So again, thank you guys, and a shout out to them, to Mojang and to Nvidia. I can't speak right now because it's just breathtaking. That's what it is. But that's all the time I have, so thank you very much again. If you enjoyed the video, then click the like button, click the subscribe button for more videos heading your way. Until then, this has been Let's Play, or look at, Minecraft Ray Tracing. That's all I will say for that. But until next time, I am Liam from Liam Australia. Liam out.